welcome to our new leadership podcast called A Cup of Leadership with Dean Keys and Dean Sarah. So we're kicking this off. This is a totally new concept, and we're super excited about it. But this will be a bi-weekly podcast where we interview former alums of the AELP program, and that is the Arrupe Emerging Leaders Program, and other influential people in our community to gain their perspective on leadership, serving others, and everything in between. So I'm going to kick it over to Dean Sarah, who's going to introduce our first guest today.
Thank you, Dean Keys. I am super excited today, and I can speak probably on your behalf too. Our next three guests are the reason why I'm super excited, not only that they are alums of Arrupe College, but they were also very ingrained in the fabric of our community as leaders through the Arrupe Emerging Leaders Program, through orientation, through student government. And they have a really cool organization that they just started, and really intrigued and want to hear more about their work. The new nonprofit's called SPM, or Serving People with a Mission. So I think it's a natural way to kind of kick it off. Why don't you just tell us what SPM is about?
I can take the lead on that one. So SPM is basically a nonprofit organization that is tailored to serve the youth. Through SPM, what we're looking to do is become a liaison position, and where we can take students from the ages of 18 to 20 for the first cohort and actually just develop them to be better leaders. We're going to teach them personal development skills, how to tell their story effectively so that they can relate their passions to the career field that they're choosing, to any volunteer experience that they're taking, and after that, we just ask them to become really involved with their community. So there's a two-part aspect to our program. We're asking them to attend these seminars, but at the same time, be hands-on, find a community that really tailors to their passions, that speaks to them, that they can do research on, that they can stand behind, and that they can work with, right? Because that's how you become an effective leader. Of course, you can get lessons and personal development workshops, and that's all great, but we really feel like the most effective work comes from boots on the ground, and that's your firsthand experience, right? So what SPM does is basically push them to, step outside of their comfort zone, volunteer with an organization that they love, they heard about, that they've researched, and then come back to us at the end of the program and tell us what their experience was like. So we're very excited. I think we've always been excited to be part of the larger Chicago community, and this is a way we can do that. We can connect to organizations that are standing and partner with them, and hopefully connect these students to those organizations because they speak to those needs, and they speak to the needs of Chicago, and that's what we're really trying to do, to answer to this change that is needed, that I think our world has seen this past year, how new leadership needs to kind of evolve and really make it stand. And that's what we're trying to do here at SPM.
That's great. Thanks, Valeria. I like that idea of like boots on the ground. These are folks that are a part of the community, and they're just willing to serve and kind of just do the work. So I love that. And I'm curious, our other two guests are Jacques Stefanik and Carlos Martinez. I'm curious how your time at Arrupe Emerging Leaders Program, or the ALP program, impacted your leadership development and thinking about how you wanted to, create SPM.
So, I think when we first started the Arrupe Emerging Leaders Program back in 2018, it was a while ago, I think one of the first things, at least I heard, was that everyone is a leader. Everyone's already a leader. And I think that's inspiring in itself because everyone is already a leader. You just got to develop on the skills like Valeria was talking about. You got to learn about ways to become a better leader. You got to learn about your own leadership ways. You got to learn about other people's leadership ways. And you basically just got to mend them together. And I think the Arrupe Emerging Leaders Program was the perfect recipe to helping people like me and other students at Arrupe College at the time learn about their leadership skills and also learning about other people's leadership skills. Because at least I think from this program, that being a leader is also just working with other leaders, because like you have to, cooperate, you have to work with, and you have to compromise with other leaders as well to, meet a common goal. And that's something in SPM that we're really pushing on. We're making sure that, we have the leadership skills that we need to, pursue our goals, but, we have to work together and we have to compromise. So I think that's a really big takeaway from the AALP program, is compromising, just working with people that are very different from you, but, at the same time, they're not very different from you, because you're both leaders, or not both, but you're all leaders. So I think the Aripe Emerging Leaders program has really helped me and many others, understand ourselves and understand myself more in terms of how I work together with other people, and how I see myself as a leader and how I see other people as a leader, because, like we said earlier, we're all leaders.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like one of the biggest takeaways is the opportunity to collaborate with other students and other leaders. And maybe that was kind of like the first, stepping stone to SPM, and being able to work with other students, right? And other leaders who are interested in create an impact.
Yeah. I think another thing that really resonates with me, Jock, and what you said was like everyone is a leader, and they just kind of have to tap into that leadership and figure out what skills and what talents that you have that you can contribute to others, but also figuring out like your inner passions, right? So yesterday we had really cool guest speakers from AltSpace, which is another nonprofit organization in Chicago. And we talked about the concept of community and it not necessarily being just a community in space, like I'm next to this person, but a community of shared ideas, right? A community of shared values. And I think that's what I'm gathering from you and Valeria and Carlos and SPM. So I'm curious as to like, what are you hoping to give back to the community?
So something that we're wanting people to really take from this is the fact that we are leaders. You don't have to wait till you're 45 and you feel like you have your life together to be a leader, right? I think a part of that is the collaboration aspect that we're trying to really elaborate on, because people feel like they have to be a leader on their own, and you don't. Like, there are people there that have the same aligned passions, and they want the same goal. You just have a different way of approaching it. But if you collaborate together, you can really make the most effective change. So as for me, I just want to build a program where people can come in, learn the basics to become a great leader, how to defend themselves, how to tell their story, so that they can leave and collaborate with others who have those same ideals, those same passions. And just this idea of compromising, I'll take it back to what Jacques was saying, us three, we did meet at Aripe. We have the same values, we have the same end goal, but our approach is so different. We are completely different. We have completely different leadership styles. And that's something we really want to we want people to see. We want people to see that we don't have to be exactly the same in order for us to have the same end goal. And it's the fact that we're all different. We all have something different to bring to the table, but that makes us even better together, right? So as far as collaborating with our communities, we just want a sense of unity. We live in a great city with a lot of great community organizations already, but there's not this united front that we have, right? Because we're always told that we're so different from each other. This part of the city lacks this part of the city lacks this sort of leadership. And that's not, in a sense, yes, we don't really resonate our neighbors, but that doesn't make our collaboration impossible, right? We can find common ground, we can build together, and we can build a change. So we just want to make change, united change is the easiest way to put it.
Just to add on a little quickly before we move on to the next question, I like because like Valeria, Carlos, and I always talk about how the city is like a complex place, and we got one reason why the three of us work together is because we came to compromise with each other. We came to understand each other, and we just poured in our leadership ideas and collectively. And I think that's something that we want to extend as a practice for other people. Like, ways of leaderships aren't just, just top heavy where there's like one person or I guess a small group of people on the top who are like managing or telling everyone what to do. But it's more of a community thing where the group of people who live in the community, who live in the city, who live in the neighborhood are basically making their own decisions. And I used to work at Columbia before I came to Rupe, and my boss used to always tell me at the time, don't be a manager, be a leader. And I always think that resonated with me. Don't be a manager, be a leader, because those are really different definitions, but also really similar, because people would say, oh, a manager is a leader because, they're in charge of the company or they're in charge of their team. But, I don't really think that, some managers are not leaders, but, managers can be leaders. So I think in the terms of like, management and like, I guess managerial leadership, like you have to look at it in the way of that, you don't have to manage a group of people. You have to lead a group of people. But at the same time, where you're not in front of them, you're with them, you're walking with them at the same time. And that's where our slogan, walking hand in hand, comes in, because, we don't want to walk in front of people saying, hey, follow us. It's like, we want to walk with y'all, because we're not trying to manage. We're not trying to, just tell people what to do. We want to walk with everyone so we can, solve our, issues in our city, issues in our world as an organization, as a community.
Nice. I really like that slogan too. Walk hand in hand. I think that's when I think of leadership, I think of that. I think of a person as a part of a group, but inspiring that group and walking with them. So it sounds like you're modeling the behavior that you want to see in other people in your collaboration with the other leaders of SPM. So I don't know, it's so inspirational. And I think the next question I want to ask you, because this is such a interesting time with COVID and the pandemic and racial injustice, and I feel like there's so many things that are being thrown our way in these past couple of years. I'm curious as to has COVID changed your approach to leadership or developed new leadership skills? And did it affect like your creation in this organization as well?
Yeah, so we created SPM in the midst of a pandemic. We actually started a year ago around this time. And, something that really motivated us to start a nonprofit in the middle of everything that was happening the summer of 2020 was the fact that we needed new change. We needed new leadership, and we needed people to step up. And there were people that were willing to step up. They just didn't know how or didn't have a place to go to in order to make the most effective change. So for me, it has made a very big difference in the way that I see leadership, in a sense that now I see leadership as more strategic, right? So how can we build a program, SPM build a program that really resonates with every individual? We're all so different. How can we create a space in which they feel safe sharing, what drives them, their stories, their individual talents, and then apply that somewhere else? So for me, being a leader and walking hand in hand with somebody means really looking at them for who they are individually, and focusing on that person, even if it means like spending an hour on the phone, whatever length of time. Everybody has something so different to offer. And I think the only way we can be effective as a program is if we really enhance everybody's talents, right? And if we take the time to listen to them, because everybody comes with different needs, with different ideas, and they're good ideas. We just need to find an effective plan, that works for them. So for me, it's made it more strategic. It's made me become a better listener, because leading is listening. You don't necessarily have to be doing anything. You can be listening to an individual, and that's a form of leadership. It's not top heavy. You don't have to be making all the calls. You can just have these one-on-one conversations, put an effective plan into order, and then see the results play out for themselves. So it's been a lot about listening, understanding, and then working together, a lot of collaboration. And, you know, with all the injustices that have been happening forever, but especially, you know, that were highlighted, especially in the summer, I think that's something so important, just to listen to people, to be able to collaborate with people and do so in a respectful manner. So it's definitely changed my view in a sense that now I feel like it's more holistic for myself. Like, I know that I have to treat every individual that I come to contact with as that, an individual first, and then, you know, a leader second, because that's how we make the most effective change.
Yeah, I really like that, Valerie, the idea that listening is a form of leadership, right? Sometimes that can go such a long way for somebody, and being present with them, and like you said, walking hand in hand, you know, it's just a supportive, empathetic way of being, that I resonate with that. The other piece that I think that stood out to me was talking about being strategic. I feel like this pandemic has forced people to be very strategic, because being on Zoom is exhausting, you know, trying to, you know, balance your safety and also, you know, being social at the same time, and not wanting to lose connections. Like, you have to be very strategic. And I think it's kind of peeled away a lot of layers in people and just left us with this rawness of humanity, that I think requires a lot of listening and being present with others. So thanks. I really appreciate that. So I'm curious, we always kind of look towards the future. How do you think after this pandemic, hopefully it'll end shortly, but how do you think SPM was going to change after that? You know, since it was created, like you said, in the middle of a pandemic last year, how do you anticipate there being change after this?
This is something that I think about a lot, because you know, we started SPM because of you know, the things that were going on around us, but you know, we really hit the ground running when the pandemic hit, and the events, and I'll say in the middle of 2020 happened with the racial inequalities, and the environment around us was actively changing a lot. So in a way, we're flexible to what's going on around us. Like, if there's something that happens and we are able to like bounce back and respond to, like, at least we try to respond to that issue. So honestly, it's like, this is what I normally tell people. Like, it's like hard for me, at least to predict the future of SPM, because I'm not sure of the external environment, like what's going to happen in the next few hours, what's going to happen in the next few days, what's going to happen in the next few months, because anything could happen. Like, about a year ago from this time is when, you know, the pandemic first hit, and then, you know, universities were sending students home, and it was immediate, it was sudden, and, you know, we had to bounce back. You know, while I was going home from campus, you know, Valeria, Carlos, and I were talking about SPM and how we could, you know, bounce back to the current situation. And, you know, when the events happened in May, you know, we were also talking about how could we bounce back to the situation. And when the events happened over the summer, with, you know, the protesting and the rioting in the city, we were bouncing back and seeing what we can do to try to, to try to be involved and try to respond to these issues. And, you know, we didn't predict this at all. And, you know, it was difficult because, you know, it happened immediately. But, you know, we really wanted to make sure that, you know, we were listening to others, but we were also, you know, understanding the situation. And it's really hard to, you know, understand the situation, especially when we're in a Zoom world. You know, it's hard for me to say that. Maybe Valeria has a better answer on her end. But, you know, I feel like, at least for me, it's hard to at least predict the future of SPM because, you know, we're really flexible. We're really flexible. Like, whatever happens in the future is like what we really gear our energy around, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's completely true. We are flexible, right? That's why we created it. We wanted something that was flexible and can reflect its environment. So however the world looks next, I can reassure you that we'll tailor our program to look like that, to fit those needs and to give people the space where they can talk about what's happening. So I think Jacques did a great job answering that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you're the premise of the organization of SPM is to be very versatile and to respond to what's around you, right? Um, so I think that's awesome. I think it sounds like it also taught you and is teaching all of us like resilience and how to push forward, even with all of these external factors kind of bringing us down, in
Yeah,
effect.
I think resilience is the perfect word to explain it. I think that's the perfect word.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It's testing my resilience and the community at Arupe is resilience too. But we're still pushing forward, and even more inspired with stories like SPM too. So um, our final question for you all is around giving back. We have a really great cohort of leaders in our AELP program this year. And um, one of the things that they shared was like, we want to hear from alums. We want to know some advice. So thinking back when you were a first year student, because they're in their second semester of their first year, they started college via online on Zoom. Like if you had to tell your younger self some advice on leadership skills, like what would you tell yourself?
At least I would tell myself back in 2017. I was such a long time ago when I first started at Aripe. When I was finishing up high school, you're entering a new world that's really different. And you're just meeting a lot of new people, hundreds of new people you're going to be around when you go to Aripe. And at least something that I would, continue to tell myself is just take advantage of the opportunities that are around you. Aripe has hundreds of opportunities for students. And I mean hundreds, I mean a lot. I mean literally hundreds because, you can choose to join many organizations. And not just many organizations at Aripe, you have the opportunities and resources at the greater university, Loyola University of Chicago. And also in terms of giving back, I always thought about what if I do something? Do I deserve compensation for it? Do I deserve payment? You don't always, need to receive some sort of payment or compensation for doing some sort of service. I think Aripe really taught me that, there are some things that you can just do pro bono. You got to do it for free sometimes. And when I was in student government, I was like, I'm fine with not getting paid. Like, I really appreciated the fact that I was able to give back to my community in a different form of payment, basically just through service. And a lot of people would say, well, these positions are like a lot of work. You have to, dedicate a lot of time and, it's difficult sometimes. And I didn't really care that I wasn't, receiving some sort of compensation. I was like, actually, I'm taking a lot away from this because I'm getting a lot of leadership skills. I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm just learning more about myself for free in a way. So in a way, like I should have been paying Aripe in another way, but that wasn't the case. But I just feel like students should just pay more attention to the community service aspect and like giving back in a way where you put as much work into a job as if you were getting paid for it. I think that's something that I taught myself, and I think that's something that I continue to teach myself because we don't get paid in SPM, and it's something that I learned that that we don't really always need to get paid for things that we do, and you just continue to push yourself to do all of these things and just learn more about yourself and basically just just learn these leadership skills through all of the opportunities that are available to you.
Yeah, and as for me, well, I'm a first generation student. So I just want to reiterate the fact that you can make a change, right? My biggest advice, if I could go back to 2018, which was a little bit ago, I'm not going to say a long time ago, right? If I could go back to that time, I could just reassure myself that what I have to say does matter, that when people say that, they're not saying it lightly. When I heard it from the deans at Arupe, from the faculty at Arupe, like what you say matters. Like use those resources that Jacques was talking about. Join the extracurricular activity, join student government. Maybe it's not student government, join DASO, join something that resonates with what you want to do outside of your career. Because I think yes, we live in a world where it's like go to college, get a stable career, but you learn quickly that a career is not everything. If you don't have something that you're really passionate about, then you can kind of get drained with all the work that comes with college, right? So just, I want to reiterate one more time, what you say does matter. But in order for you to make that change happen, you have to take advantage of the resources that you have at hand. So that means joining a club. That means talking to your faculty and at Arrupe to the deans. If you have an idea that's already not implemented, make sure you're the one that's implementing it. You have the choice to do that, right? And just know that you belong. Like, you belong there. You are resilient, and I promise you that whatever you do moving forward, if you do it with the right intention, it's going to make a great impact. So just know that you are a leader already before you even completed the program, before you even graduate from Arrupe. You're a leader, and what you're doing right now is going to build up those leadership skills. So why not take advantage of everything you have, in front of you?
Yeah, and just one more thing I just popped in my head when Valeria was talking, that when you join these activities like, clubs and organizations, you build your network. And I think networking is just super important. Last night, another Arrupe student, Sebastian, and I were hosting a panel with Julia Garcia, and it was a networking event. And it's really just bringing people together and just, helping people, learn more about each other, and just like opening these doors of opportunity for other people. And it's all about networking. And, Valeria, Carlos, and I met each other through one organization, and it was through networking in a way. Like, if we never networked together, we never would have been here, talking about SPM in this podcast. But, it exists because we were networking, we got to know each other. So I think networking is also very important in the terms of, giving back and community service.
Yeah, you're already connected to the leaders of tomorrow. So make sure you take advantage of that. And not in a way that you're taking advantage of a person, but really make meaningful connections with the people around you, because who knows, maybe you're starting an organization 2 years from now, a year from now, or maybe you're just really good friends with influential people. And, I can say that I am, and I have great partners.
So I was going to pull it back to that point what Jock was making. Like, this SPM is a product of networking and taking advantage of the opportunities that are around you. I want to thank you all for joining us, telling us a little bit more about SPM, telling us how influential the leadership program at Arrupe was, and your experience at Arrupe was. If people wanted to find out more information about serving people with a mission, how would they find that out?
So you can actually follow us on social media. Our best way to get in touch with us is through Instagram. So SPM Leads. We have a link tree in our bio that can lead you to our website, which, tells us about our mission and our vision statement. We can also go to servingpeoplewithamission.org. That's just the website itself. But yeah, follow us on social media as SPM Leads, and you can find us on our website as well.
Awesome. They got a website, Instagram, DM them, get to know them. Like, they are amazing people with so much passion. And I'm so happy we were able to bring them for our first podcast. Dean Sarah, did you want to?
Yeah, no, I think this is just, I was so touched and excited to spend this time with you. It went by so fast. And I learned so much more about your organization, and just can't wait to see, what more you'll put out there. And I hope our students will also take advantage of expanding their network, as we kind of talked about and touched upon today, because they are already in your network as alums of Arrupe College.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us today. I really love spending time with you both, and, talking about our experiences. So thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I really like this. I think this is a really fun way to, I guess, network newly. This is a new way of networking in a way, because, we live in the Zoom world. So I really appreciate y'all putting this together, and definitely, let me and Valeria or Carlos know if y'all need anything else, because like, we're definitely always trying to give back to y'all because y'all gave something to us that's really valuable.
Oh,
We're here for you.
Valeria.
Ditto.
Well, that concludes our first podcast of A Cup of Leadership. Tune in next time in 2 weeks. We'd like to thank all the community members at Arrupe College and our partners at the Arthur J. Schmidt Foundation for their support in the Schmidt Scholars Leadership Program.